Greetings and salutations, gang. Got Sammy here and the little girl, of course, as always. um, Forgive the chorus of doggy smooches in the background. I have to give them their little bit of peanut butter to bribe them. So they'll chill out and lay down here with me while I do this. And I was not going to go live today at all. However, I had put this topic aside and it popped in my head a little while ago. Just ruminating and whatnot. And I know that it's important, so I wanted to go over it. Because we're not promised tomorrow, you never know what will happen. So I want to make sure. And it's probably a topic that most of you at this point have heard about. But just in case you haven't, let's just dive into it and see where it gets us. I'm not great at preparing people's soul or heart, bodies. I try to help you prepare your soul and your spirit and your mind, and to make those a fortress, your own inner kingdom, your interior castle, to fortify it, lock it down against intrusion, right? Anyway, feeling poetic these days. Please forgive me, I'm still not feeling well. I'm like, okay, I don't, it's just my sinuses, so it is a pain and I don't sound great, and I know that's a big thing, especially when I don't show my face a lot, and I'm sorry for that. So please extend to me a little bit of grace, because I'm having a hard time. It's been a hard several years. I don't need your pity or anything like that. That's not why I'm asking. I'm just explaining. All right, so what you're looking at is a diagram of the sun, allegedly. Let's not get into flat earth and that whole thing right now. If these scientists are working with the fallen ones, they know science. Like, science is their quote-unquote technology, magic. Like, it's everything to them. And for whatever reason, they've set aside heaven, but not the ways of heaven. They've set aside God, but not the attributes and the gifts and the talents that he's given them. And so I do believe in a flattish earth, but I don't think everything is flat, and I really don't want to get into how that works right now. I still think it's circular, sort of. Like we're in some type of, almost like a canyon, okay? But a big one, like a really big one, like that map that I showed you. But this still has validity to it, because even if it's not quote-unquote real, even if you don't believe in round planets or gas balls or whatever, then you can still gain something from it by the verbiage that is used. There are clues. Again, symbology follows everything. It's almost impossible. That is nature's algorithm, or the algorithm of this quote-unquote simulation. I like to call it a sandbox video game. You're not allowed into the kingdom of heaven or the real house until you can keep your own playhouse orderly and whatnot. Just my opinion. I know other people think it's a prison, and perhaps to them maybe it is. Even though I am secluded and tucked away. Sorry, I'm drinking black tea every morning, a tablespoon of honey, like a shot of, like I just take it and then I drink the tea with some cinnamon. It's helping, but not enough, so. Holistic remedy is welcome. I welcome your advice. So what do we have here? Well, it's showing you where solar flares occur, solar prominence. I tried to put this on the whole thumbnail, but it was a little too big. Is anyone here? No. I'm going to turn the comments on just for the sake of posterity or what have you. Solar prominence, it's showing you what a solar flare is. It's showing you what solar prominence looks like. It's showing you what a coronal mass ejection looks like. So these things are all on the surface. See, solar prominence, solar flare, coronal mass ejection, CME. So when people say CMEs, that's what they're talking about, for anyone that, doesn't know. Okay, so that's the surface, right? That's what's going on the surface of our sun, the thing, the giant great light that keeps us warm and brings us life. And yes, it is parallel for Christ, the life bringer. but spiritually speaking. So these things echo out, these patterns echo out in the algorithm. So regardless, there are certain terms, certain numbers that attach to beings, whether they want them to or not. It's like their signature. It's like a fingerprint, okay? Imagine if you are a forensic scientist or a forensic detective, but you're a spiritual forensic detective, right? You would have to attach certain symbols to certain beings, and then you would have to figure out what numbers follow them around and what words, and then what words equate to those numbers. That also applies to physical space, things like addresses, telephone numbers, all of that stuff seems to follow people in certain respects. It's not always the same. It's not always 714. Sometimes it's 741 or 417. But still, it means the same thing. So what do we have here on the outer edge? What is that called? It is called the corona. We had an event start a couple of years ago. I am not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. The disclaimers, as always, are in the description. Everything that I share is per fair use. It's all publicly available on the internet. So any of you can go and look these things up. As always, take everything with a grain of salt. Don't just blindly believe things. Faith has its place, like blind belief, right? Belief without sight. You are blessed if you believe without sight in things like God, the resurrection, the spirit, right? The soul. Other things of this world that even things that you're not sure of, you need to be cautious of. So we had an event that started, and this is what it was labeled. At first, it was labeled corona. Now, corona, and as always, is a word that ripples out too. You see the layers here? Corona is also a layer of your eye, okay? There were rumors of I don't know how to say this without, of a computer virus that could be spread through certain videos to people's eyes to the corona. And it was called Kek, like that frog from that old meme. But Kek is also an ancient cult, religion, whatever you want to call it. What we're dealing with today is Babylonians. A whole lot of people in the sect of, what is it called? I don't want to, Set. We're dealing with a lot of that today. So they believe in reincarnation. They believe in taking your belongings with you. But they do have some type of moral code, some of them. But again, it's strange, okay? Hello, peace to you. My peace I give you. Absolutely. Welcome. Good morning. Well, greetings and salutations. So then you have, if you get deeper in, you have the corrective zone, the radiative zone, and the core, okay? In which you also have all these layers and an eye, a pregnant belly, the earth, allegedly, all right? And just because somebody believes the earth's flat doesn't mean, like, it's thin like a sheet of paper and there's nothing there. I want to make that clear. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation spreading around, and I don't want to be a source of that. This is why we research together. Now, I want to show you. Keep these things in mind. We'll come back here. Oh, another word that's pretty important is this chromosphere. Chromosphere. Okay? Like the chroma glasses, all the people who allegedly had color blindness were doing videos on. One of my favorite campers. Please understand that's sarcasm. Who's obviously a member of the Black Eye Club because he posts it on everywhere and he never took it down. We got to watch out for these words that are being reused. They are messages that they're sending each other, even in media stories, news stories especially. Come on, get out of here. Real quick, I'm not going to preach or anything today right now. And when he had opened the sixth seal, I saw and behold, a great earthquake occurred, and the sun became black, like a haircloth sack, and the entire moon became like blood. And the stars fell from heaven upon the earth. Now, allegedly, there is no blood moon until next year. However, we do have, these eclipses follow each other, right? So we do have a lunar eclipse Monday, I believe. And watch out for that. Maybe I'll do a live stream or I'll do a video because that's safe, to look up at. And I still need to do a couple test videos with the camcorder at night and whatnot too. And I'm going to try and get out there today and just show you guys some nature, I won't get out there too long. It's very cold. So we see that there's a lot going on, that there's going to be a lot of signs in the heavens. And we know that the sign of Jonah is a sign for an evil generation, a wicked generation who asks for a sign, and that shall be the only one that they receive. However, God always warns his people, and we have been warning for a long time. If nothing happens, great. I'll be so glad to be wrong. That won't bother me at all. I have lost everything for speaking out truth, and for trying to defend children, and for trying to get my pastor, our local pastor, to go to the school with me because of the programs they were doing after school. My youngest is almost severely indoctrinated by that system. My oldest, it's familial issues. And so this is the least of what I can do, but it's what I'm able to do, is to speak truth, speak the testimony. That's how we defeat things. That's how we defeat evil and darkness and deception, is by shining a light. Now, we're not supposed to shine a light on wicked things and keep our minds on them, right? That's why I don't talk about the dark things too often. I didn't upload last night. If anyone wants to see it, it is a dark topic, but it's about people going missing in the national parks, and it is a confirmation from videos that I have been doing since the very beginning of this, warning you that there's something going on there, that they're committing ritualistic acts. And there's a lot of movies like that. So again, is our media creating events that occur in our reality? Or is the media just pumping out stories that it sees in fiction? And that's not true? I don't believe that, though. I think it's actually happening. I have reason to believe that that's, again, I was supposed to be a sacrifice, but I did not consent. If I am ever such a thing, only God the Most High, and he will let me know when it's that time. And just because we're supposed to turn the other cheek does not mean that we don't call the persecutors out. Christ had very little patience for the Sadducees and the Pharisees and the scribes, the ones who wrote the books, because they were gatekeepers of the law. Okay, so the Carrington Event, what is it? Let's get a brief summary here. Sam, could you not lick that like such a piggy? Samson, easy with that, okay? Lay down. You're quieter when you're laying down there doing it. Oh my goodness. He's not a pity, guys. He's a piglet. Are you a warthog? Lay down now. Yes, I know. You got your peanut butter. Good boy. There you go. Sorry about that, guys. The Carrington Event was the most intense geomagnetic storm in recorded history, peaking from the 1st and 2nd of September 1859 during solar cycle 10. It created strong auroral displays that were reportedly global and caused sparking and even fires in multiple telegraph stations. And they didn't have a lot of cleanup to do. These people already were growing their own food. General stores were just, coming around as a thing. They had to stake their own land, most of them. Telegraphs were they new-ish? Excuse me. I am so sorry, guys. Were point-to-point text messaging systems primarily used from the 1840s. So yeah, they were pretty new. And what it was like you would click in like Morse code almost. And the person on the other end, don't ask me how it travels. You got copper coils and the whole bit, the Tesla thing going on. But it's a really cool device. And honestly, I wish we still use things like this today, because it would do our brains well. There's been a severe decline in cognitive abilities and critical thinking, and you can see that as someone who didn't grow up with the internet, or somebody who didn't get into it until years later. I was outside. I did things. I read a lot of books. I worked a lot, so I didn't see all these things. I am sorry. The geomagnetic storm was most likely the result of a coronal mass ejection, the CMA. Now, real quick, what is this? Okay, so this is allegedly the sun. That's kind of why it's like almost blacked out in the center. Coronal mass ejections are usually visible in white light coronagraphs. So you see, that word's being used a whole lot. It's a significant ejection of magnetic field. And what do we have around the Earth? A magnetic field. Now, I believe in science, but I believe in repeatable science, and I go to the older generation for science, because just the fact that they knew how to use a telegraph machine and knew Morse code and grew their own food, like, to me, that's all I need to know, really. And so I try to go to older studies, okay? So, it's a significant ejection of magnetic field and accompanying plasma mass from the sun's corona. So the surface of the sun kind of has almost like you see in Yellowstone in the geysers, right? And Old Faithful, kind of like that. So CMEs are often associated with solar flares and other forms of solar activity, but a broadly accepted theoretical understanding of these relationships has not been established. So they don't even have a working theory yet on how these things are all correlated together. So I hope I said that right. Okay, so the Carrington event was most likely, now they don't know for sure, most likely the result of a coronal mass ejection from the sun colliding with the Earth's magnetosphere. Now it's showing you, I guess that's a diagram, but it's a handwritten diagram, so yeah. Are they guessing? I don't know what kind of telescopes they had back then. I don't know. Sunspots of 1 September 1859 is sketched by Richard Carrington. A and B mark the initial positions of an intensely bright event which moved over the course of 5 minutes to C and D before disappearing. Hold, please. My bad. I apologize. If you understand, this is not a professional channel. I do not have a studio. So I need your patience dealing with background noises because, you know, life happens and that's just how it is. If you understand the verbiage and the correlations that I try to make and help you see, please do give the video a thumbs up. The channel itself will likely never be monetized, but it lets me know if I'm explaining these things in an easy to understand way. I'm still learning about this. I am not physics girl, but I do believe in repeatable, true science. What I'm curious about is if there was an eclipse directly prior to this, and also if there was an earthquake that took place around the same time. What we're looking for here is a pattern to establish itself so that on April 8th, we're a little bit better mentally prepared. Either way, no matter what happens, just in case. I'm not a fearmonger. I'm not monetized. I don't do this for money. Or popularity, frankly, but I do love you all, and I pray for all of us every single day, regardless of your religion, creed, ethnicity, political affiliation, yada yada. So it's saying there was a geomagnetic storm. It formed on the 1st. It dissipated on the 2nd. It was associated with a very bright solar flare on the 1st. It was observed and recorded independently by, that means they had no affiliation with, like, an institution. I think that's what that means. It was observed and recorded independently by British astronomers. So basically, they don't have any skins in the game. They're not in it for money or whatever. They just happen to see this. It's from my understanding. British astronomers Richard Christopher Carrington and Richard Hodgson, the first records of a solar flare. A geomagnetic storm of this magnitude occurring today would cause widespread electrical disruptions. That means your vehicles too. If you have an older vehicle, and now they're classics, from 1983 or before, you're good to go. But all the ones of today, you're not even going to be able to get in. all these chips, everything going digital, there will be no information left about our civilization. There's a reason the ancients carved things into stone, because it's pretty permanent. Paper, rock, scissors, right? Rock wins pretty much every time. A geomagnetic storm of this magnitude occurring today would cause widespread electrical disruptions, blackouts, and damage due to extended outages of the electrical power grid. What does that mean? That means cleanup would be very slow. It would cut down our communications. There would be collateral issues, side effects, some predictable, some not, right? So, again, this is all about preparation. Okay, the July 12th, 2012 solar storm as photographed by Stereo, and that's, I'll just show you. Solar Terrestrial Relations Observatory, okay? Was a CME of comparable strength to the one which is thought to have struck the Earth during the 1859 Carrington Event. All right, so hold, please. We're going to go out of here for a moment. Wait, hold up. I got to remember the exact. September 1st, 1859. This is called cross-referencing. And this is how you see what I see and how I learn, and we learn together. Okay, so eclipse data. Total solar eclipse of 1859, May 25th. So let's see. The greatest eclipse, May 25th. Ecliptic conjunction, May 25th. Equatorial conjunction, May 25th. So, and then it's showing you the times. 7:23, 7:13, 7:44. Okay? Total solar eclipse of 1859, May 25th. So, let's see. I want May, June, July, August, September. Okay, that's pretty close. It's 4 months. But fringe scientists are saying that anywhere between 2 weeks prior to solar events like eclipses and geomagnetic storms, 2 weeks prior to and 2 weeks after are the cautionary times where you want to keep your eye on things, okay? So let's see, how many? I want to see the year, so we're going to scroll down to 1859 and just kind of take a little look at what was going on in the sky at that time, if we can. February, March, July, August 28th. Why is the May one not even on here then? See, this is why you gotta dig around. Okay, so they're saying there was one on August 28th, 1859. Now, if this happened on September 1st, it's saying it was a partial. Look, there's the 33. This is. Can you bring this up for me? Where is it? Just show me. I don't care. You're not going to show. Is it anywhere? Does it mean anything? Unnamed location near the Indian Ocean. All right. And so that would be the Indian Ocean. Is the other side of the world. All right. So Carrington Event. Let's go back to the Carrington Event. Okay, where did it affect? Across North America and Europe, the strength of the solar storm caused a complete halt to telegraph systems. So that's North America and Europe. And they're saying it hit in the Indian Ocean, which is in the northern, right? Yeah, because it's to the right of Europe. Let me just show you, because I don't want people saying, oh, no, you didn't look at this. And, whoa, thank you. Sorry about that. It is bounded by Asia to the north, Africa to the west, and Australia to the east. Show it to me. That's wild. Okay, so this is the area or whatever. I want to see the path. I don't know how to figure that out. I don't know if they were still recording stuff. I don't know if they were able to record stuff like that at that time. They barely. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, let's look at who this person is. An amateur astronomer. He lived until 1875. He demonstrated the existence of solar flares, as well as suggesting their electrical influence upon the Earth and its aurora. Okay? Why is this a big deal? He won a gold medal in the Royal Astronomical Society, fields of astronomy. He studied in Durham, and he might probably worked at Durham University, maybe. Yeah, because his alma mater is Trinity College. Okay. So, what we want to know. When next? 1859. Start date. Chance of another. 0.92% chance, they're saying. The warning time was just before noon. I guess this happened. Recovery time. It took them 4 to 10 years to recover their telegram system and whatever electrical sites that were affected by this. 4 to 10 years. Do you know that one of our transformers, they don't even make them in the U.S.? None of the chips are made here. And the transformers, which we would need to go back online on a grid, take something like months to get here. And we don't have any kept here. So ask yourselves why that is. I apologize. I'm trying to power through. Let me drink a little tea. All right, let's take a look at what Spacecom has to say. They know their business. I'm not going to tell them their business. I want to learn, so let's see what they got to say. It can play havoc with technology on the Earth. It was caused by a powerful coronal mass ejection. It took place at the beginning of September. Now remember that it wasn't a solar eclipse. It was a lunar eclipse, I think, or a partial solar eclipse. That took place in August, just a few days before this happened. So everything is connected. Now, while we may, people say, oh, we are one. I don't want to go back to some primordial soup. I don't think that's why God gave us independence and free will. I don't think that's what happens. However, I do believe we are all connected, and what we do affects those around us, and there's a butterfly effect, a ripple effect, however you want to say it. The things we have been doing, the things the elites have been doing, the things even our children, unfortunately, have been doing to their own parents. This is all against all the laws of nature. Children are not supposed to tell their parents what to do, and a lot of children now are. Remember years ago when they would say, ha, hacked your account, Mom, and they would get into it and make that post? My kids never did that. But, again, that's a clue as to what's happening here. Much like the Salem witch trials, a lot of adults are probably being blackmailed at this point. And their children are in charge of them. You can see it just by how they act when they're out and about. It's against nature. And I know people don't want to hear this. And I'm not lecturing because I'm no one to lecture. That's not what this is about. It's about trying to warn people and just saying, slow down, stop, take a minute, reassess. I know you're on autopilot. I know you have bills that you think you have to pay. Truly, you don't have to pay them. Your child does not have to go to such a prestigious or expensive school. You don't have to drive such an expensive vehicle. These are all choices that we have made as individuals, but also as societies. And as consumers, we are consuming, but we're not producing anything. We're not giving back. That is unnatural. And there is a debt to pay for that. You go into, and I'm not going to get into spiritual debt. I mean, there's just a natural law, a correct order of things, and you get into, or a people gets indebted, basically, into natural law. They owe, right? Reparations. And I don't mean money. Please, reparations don't always mean money, right? There's a price to pay. We should be building community gardens. We should be putting gardens on and recreational areas on rooftops. We should be utilizing that space. There is so many more things that we could be doing. I mean, they make it illegal to catch rainwater so that people can save watering their gardens. We don't have to be a part of this system. Nobody has made us be a part of it. We just don't really know what to do otherwise. We don't know how to live, right? It's scary, the unknown. People, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's coming. Oh, and I never did a video on that thing. I think I know who that was in the Willy Wonka thing. Nobody's going to believe me, but I think I know who it was in the unknown costume. But anyway, let's continue. So in August 1859, astronomers around the world watched with fascination as the number of sunspots on the solar disk grew. I think it's key that they're not mentioning that there was an eclipse directly prior to this. And that's why I had to go look at it with you guys, because I'm like, wait a second. Let's see what was going on in the sky, because as above, so below is not a lie. Just because it's occultic in nature, we say the same thing in the Lord's Prayer. On heaven as on earth. If there's a war in the heavens, that's going to affect what's happening down here. Okay, on September 1st, he was sketching sunspots. He was blinded by a sudden flash of light. Carrington described it as a white light flare. The whole event lasted about 5 minutes. Now, here's the question. Are they making this up because they don't want people to be afraid and cause panics during when eclipses are coming? Or did they just not make the correlation at that time? They were smarter than us back then. I mean, they really were. I'm not going to deny that. I have no wisdom other than what God gives me and what he leads me to. And so far, guys, everything he's told me that was coming has happened. Any of you that's been here for the journey of the Brie and Jen channel and this one, you've seen it. You've seen some of the stuff. You've seen all of it come to pass. And it's not bragging. It's warning. It's saying, please, wake up. Please. I'm shaking the bed. I'm setting off your alarm clock. Please. Even if we all started doing just minuscule things differently each day. Just small things. Don't drive to the corner store, walk, right? Don't leave the lights on in your house, and don't leave your devices plugged in when they're not needing to be. Because yes, even if they're plugged in, that switch to that electric current is still turned on. You want to be mindful of things like that. And I just know that because, like I said, my parents owned a video store and I had to learn about electronics and all that stuff. Let's see. In 17.6 hours, so just under 24 hours, the CME traversed over 90 million miles between the sun and Earth and unleashed its force on our planet. According to NASA spaceflight, it usually takes CMEs multiple days to reach Earth. Okay. So we know what effects this will have, right? Now, let's ask this. Will there be CME with the solar maximum during the eclipse? Because this isn't just any eclipse. It's eclipse during the solar maximum. If you missed that part where I was talking about that. Why the 2024 eclipse will be a different experience from 2017. Will it be dark? The sky will become completely dark for a few minutes. Why is it so special? The moon's shadow from this year's eclipse is larger because the moon is closer. Skywatchers will not only get a glimpse of total darkness, but a longer period of darkness as well. It looks like a ring. The Eye of Sauron, right? Lord of the Rings. He who controls the rings controls the realm. How the 2024 eclipse will explain the sun's ring of fire. No, I want to know. Come on, man. Why'd you do that? Oh, do you see? Messed up. Okay. Will there be... Why is it not working? Be... Yeah, it's way jacked up today. I'm sorry, guys. I had issues when I was uploading to, or setting the live up as well. Will there be CMEs with the solar eclipse? Could we see a solar eruption on eclipse day? It would be very possible to see a CME close to the sun. We're looking for something specific. Uh-oh, 1 hour ago. Check out these two big sunspots. Earth sky. Check out these two big sunspots. We've been getting lots of images of the two big sunspots regions now crossing the Earth-facing side of our star. You know, I've never been a sun gazer. I've read about that, and people from the channel that watch the channel have told me about it. If you're somebody who does that, I'm interested in your thought process. We're told that it will hurt our eyes. We're told that we'll go blind, but yesterday the sun was just at a certain angle, and I was just thanking God for the day, and I was able to look up because there was like a haze over it, but I could still see it. And I looked at the sun like directly for a long time. For me anyways, I'm not a sun gazer. And I would swear, you know how you see it will leave something, you know, in your eyes when you close your eyes after that? I would swear it had wings. I don't know what that means, but I figured I would tell you anyway. Plus, we have, what is it called? The Lucifer comet coming with the horns, the devil comet, because it has horns. That's coming around at the exact same time. So, this is either a whole lot of occult stuff they're messing with, or we legitimately have a once in a lifetime, a once in, I don't know how long, I think 2,000 years, and it would do us well to have our spirits and our souls prepared to make sure that you have all of your devices charged before that day. I'm personally going to unplug things and turn them off. I don't want to have any electronics running. I would prefer not to have the Wi-Fi running either. Depending on who's home that day, we'll see if I'm able to, I don't even know, to vote on that topic or whatever. Now, people say, why are you covering this, and why are you talking about this, and why do these correlations matter? We went over a while back that ancient people used to do rituals during eclipses. Some people of the Victorian era would just go out and they thought the world was ending. The birds act weird. The animals act strange. It's just a break in the normal routine of things. It's an anomaly. And you don't know quite what will happen. You just don't know. I'm just advising that you stay on the safe side of things. And I will say this. It's pretty obvious to me that since the last eclipse, people have been steadily degrading almost every 3 years. Every 2 years, 2.5 years. There's been this visible degradation and I made a post the other day about a YouTuber. Their morals or their lack of morals are slipping, and their masks are slipping, and certain things are coming out. Even people I talk to on a daily basis, they've always done it with me. They tell me things that are true, and I don't think they can help themselves. I don't even think they know why they do it. I don't even know why they do it. But the truth will come out and be brought to light. But after the last eclipse, people have steadily been, our society has taken some severe spiritual degradation. I don't know what other word to use, you guys. I just don't. So we see now that there are 2 big sunspots, Earth-facing side of our star. Each is as big as the Earth. One of them, AR 3614, has a history. What is it? No. We saw it on the sun's visible face from about February 18th until March 1st or 2nd, when the sun's rotation carried it out of view. It was big, achieving a size of nearly 9 Earths around February 26th. It was the biggest sunspot of our solar cycle 25. So far, we could see it from Earth with the proper eye protection. Between February 21st and 22nd, it produced 3 X flares, the strongest category of flare, in less than 24 hours. Okay? That's the thing that will mess with your electronics, because it hits our atmosphere, our magnetosphere, right? And it hits that, and what it does, it's like a force field like you would see in Star Wars. This is my basic understanding. And it takes down that force field for a time, right? And so whatever part of the Earth it's over at that time is in danger of having these things occur. However, with the Carrington event, it seemed to happen all over. It said North America and Europe. So that's pretty substantial, right? It seems like the northern hemisphere mostly. So these are pretty new. Now, I would like to know when they're coming around again. I'm sorry about the ads and the pop-ups, you know how it goes. AR3590. A big dark core separated from the main body at the leading edge. Huh. Do you know why east and west are reversed on the sun? Huh. Okay, so I'm curious now about that. All right. Now, this is data we have on the previous eclipse, right? I'm calling them bookends. I think it's a time of grace. We were given a time to repent and whatnot, and it doesn't seem like many people have done that, at least according to the media. There are still a lot of sensual issues being discussed right in public where children are. Like, it's just a madhouse at this point. That's my opinion. And I still love you. I love you guys. You know, the people that hang out here, we are usually pretty self-aware. That's why we don't get a whole lot of people here, because that's the state of the world. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not propping myself up. It's not about that. It's about the research that we do, and it's about the fellowship that sometimes we have. I don't know if comments are down. People just don't want to comment. They have nothing to add. But I've had, like, nobody commenting. And I don't know which is worse, having a bunch of bots and trolls commenting or having, like, crickets. I'm not sure. I just hope you guys are well. So there are many features of the sun that will likely be seen during the total solar eclipse. I'm listening. Hi, John. Thank you for being here. And thank you for what you did earlier. I appreciate it. It's been a really long time since somebody was openly kind to me. Arcadia, by the way, I'm going to make a post about you because I haven't heard from you. If you're watching, if you have watched, I've been praying for you, and I hope that your situation has improved, and I hope you're doing well. And I love you. There are many features of the sun that will likely be seen during the total solar eclipse, including the spectacular corona, helmet streamers, the thin red ring of the chromosphere, and perhaps a few prominences. Previous essays have discussed these features and what they represent, but there's one additional feature that may be seen under rare conditions, CMEs. From time to time, the sun and we know what those are, so we're just going to skip the fluff. Wow, July 18th, 1860. Okay, so when was the Carrington event? During July 18th, 1860, it was 1859, wasn't it? Guglielmo Temple drew this curious rendition of what he saw. Yeah, there's something next to it. It's like the sun has always had something chilling there. It showed the unusual corona streamers and numerous prominences dotting the limb of the eclipsed sun. But in the lower right quadrant, he also saw a curious circular feature not unlike what modern space observatories, such as the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, SOHO, that, I couldn't remember its name earlier. That's the observatory where you can see the sun and the solar flares and all that. They have routinely imaged since the 90s. CME events typically occur every few days. Strange eruptions of matter from the sun had already been observed indirectly since the 1940s. From time to time, bursts of radio wavelength energy would be observed from the sun. These were monitored at many wavelengths and classified by type and duration. The most curious of these were the traveling type 4 radio bursts detected in the 50s. It was also known, through their ratio properties, that these events were caused by clouds that were a combination of magnetic fields and plasma, emitting at radio frequencies and traveling at over 1,000 kilometers per second. Wow. By the 60s, these solar eruptions acted via the shock waves they produced. Okay, that makes sense, which could be detected by interplanetary spacecraft. Okay, whatever. And in their interaction with Earth's magnetic field, causing magnetic storms. Okay. Excuse me. All right, so we're getting into a lot of, like, I just want to know. We already know that during these events that solar flares are more likely. And because they're happening near an eclipse, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I know it is a correlation that we should pay attention to. Now, this date, July 18th, 1860. Eclipse. Okay, so let's see. Let's check earthquakes. We're going to cross-reference again, and we're going to do 1860, did it say? Oh my god, okay. The accounts clearly indicate that there were two large events at the start of the sequence, a magnitude 6 to 6.466 earthquake that occurred along the coastline. That's why I don't really like reading the KJV. It has 66 books. Not only did they remove some, but they removed them to give it that number. And so, yeah. The accounts clearly indicate that there were two large events at the start of the sequence, a magnitude 6.0 to 6.4. Occurred along what coastline? Haiti. Let's check it out. Okay. And that just makes it easier for you guys to see. Haiti's 1860 Jour de Pâques earthquake may have released strain in key fault zone. Easter Sunday. Look at that, guys. Look at that. And this one we're having now is close to Easter Sunday. And so, yeah. Yeah. Pagan calendars and all that. I get it. And that's not lost on me. But we're going to leave that topic for another day and continue. Earthquake sequence and how it might have impacted the country's most recent devastating earthquakes. May have released strain in an unusual gap. 2010. Rupture zones, earthquake were separated by. See, now I find it very interesting that someone like me, a layman who knows very little, like I'm not a science girl, that's why I do this with you guys, so that we can learn together. I find it very suspect at this point that these people aren't making the connection that, hey, this is happening at the same time that there are eclipses. Now, I've heard about earthquake-making machines because they're on The Simpsons. And yes, they've been pretty prophetic, predictive programming, whatever word you want to use, about certain things that come into the world. I think that the activities man does attribute to earthquakes. I did a study not too long ago in like 2014 for a college paper that I was doing on fracking. And I was given a list of subjects, and that's just what I picked. And I know this, again, the sequence of events in my life where I started getting noticed, and I was getting noticed for the wrong reasons. But when I got noticed for the right reasons and there was a spotlight on me already, the little g God of this world didn't like that. But remember, we're God's too, and Christ told us that. I'm not being New Age. I'm being very literal. We have authority. We have sovereignty. We just need to learn how to use it again. Okay, so it's very suspect that I can do all this cross-referencing and nobody else is. Okay, let's do... When was the Carrington Event? 1859? I know I keep forgetting, but this is a lot to cross-reference and to talk at the same time, offer, like, my 2 cents. Not that anyone cares about my 2 cents. Yep, 1859. So let's do earthquakes. All earthquakes. List. Yeah. Come on, man. Why are you doing that? L-I-S-T-E-A. Sorry, guys. I want to see a whole... Okay. Now what is this? They're not even listing the Haiti one. Shamaki. Is this in India? Oh, wow. Where is this? Present day. I can never say that word. Azerbaijan. Shamaki Baku Governorate of the Russian Empire on June 11th. 5/9, it killed approximately 100 people. Okay. June 2nd. Cali intensity scale. I want a list, man. Let's see if this will work. I've never been to this site. I don't know anything about it. Data not found. It's like they're, and I hate to say it, but when I started researching and cross-referencing a few things on my own, it's almost like stuff's being I mean, we know that stuff's being disappeared, but find a list. Earthquake app. Did you feel it? Oh boy. And I would swear, in Ohio here, there was an earthquake in like 2012 in New Jersey, I think it was, or Virginia, and we felt it here. We lived in a basement apartment at that time. You know, it was the lowest level, and so we were pretty much underground. And I had just gotten home from work, and I was sitting on the bed, and I would swear the bed rolled, and I looked, and there was nobody sitting there, and I kind of got like dizzy for a few minutes. I lost my equilibrium. It was very weird. And I wasn't going to mention this, and it's not a big deal. I mean, take it for what it is, because it's after the effect, so you might not even believe me. But for what it's worth, I felt that again the other day, and then I found out there was an earthquake in New Jersey. The reason this happens, the reason that earthquakes to the East Coast are more dangerous is because... Let's do that. Is because we have a plate. Basically, we have a plate, right? And the plate under us is not as broken up as, say, California's. That's why California's is like taking a hammer to a plate. It's all in a bunch of little pieces. That's why they can have an earthquake in one area and not feel it across the street in another. Here, we have the opposite problem. If you hit it, it will ring like a bell, which means it will vibrate and reverberate and echo outwards. That is why, that's just one reason earthquakes on this end of things are dangerous. And while I'm at it, is there anyone even here? Hey, thanks guys for being here. I'd appreciate a couple thumbs up because I am cross-referencing a lot here and saving folks that do care a lot of time. If it gets a thumbs up, it just gets a little more push. And again, people need to understand that you got to do your own research. You got to look into these things because the media is not going to tell you. They don't want to panic. And I absolutely understand that. But there's nothing wrong with being prepared. Okay? Shoot, what was I going to cross-reference just now? Oh. Let's check this out. How stupid are we? There are 104 nuclear plants in the U.S. 15 of them are located in what is known as the New Madrid Seismic Zone. 15. A region defined by a fault line of the same name. While the U.S. earthquake zone is active, scientists say the ingredients do not exist there for a Japan-style nuclear disaster. While the U.S. earthquake zone is active, scientists say that was in 2011. Okay? So let's do images now. Click over to images and see if it will show me the nuclear sites. I know somebody's had to have looked it up by now. Like, I'm not the first person to think of this. When you have these things on fallout zones, it's very dangerous. I don't know, like our energy system, and they've sold the lie to the kids, because my son believes it, that nuclear takes up less space, it's less wasteful, so it's better, right? It's not better, because if somebody makes a single mistake, it's not just that area or that company or that coal line that gets shut down. It's the whole area, the whole surrounding area is affected by that. And we should be speaking out about things like this, telling them, don't build cell towers near schools, right? Don't build them near schools. Don't put them up near schools. Why do you need them near their schools? Don't put nuclear sites, and don't use them until you know how to cool them properly. Japan had no idea how to cool their reactors after Fukushima happened. No idea. I have not seen a lot of Japan news since RT was shut down on YouTube, and I actually liked RT. I didn't have a problem with it. I don't personally have a problem with Putin. I don't have a problem with any of them people that I don't know, and I think most of them are facsimiles or proxies. Like I said, they don't want you to know who they really are. That would be stupid. There we got it. All of the stars located on the map. Can I pull this out? Oh, come on. Let me go here. And the Facebook. I don't want to be on Facebook. Really? Get out of there. Sorry about that. U.S. nuclear power plants. Okay, so do you see the empty area right there? That is the fault line. That's the actual fault line. Nuclear power plants that are in active service are red. The deactive ones are yellow. The deactive ones means there's nobody manning those stations. But if something happened, it still would not be a quote-unquote good thing. Okay? So, I think I made a clear case that these events are connected, that the stars do tell us and warn us about what is coming. Now, as far as it being God's judgment in that, how does that work into things that are predictable by a cycle? Again, I think that's people who are on this predictable cycle more than anything. And we have a dome that protects us, right? What happened during the flood, though? It was rolled back like a scroll. And the water was allowed to come pouring in. That's why the flood was so massive and so devastating. Okay? There are people that say the Milky Way looks like that from here because that is where Thor, whoever plays Thor's part, broke the firmament to start the flood. But we have this verse right here. Go away. And heaven receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and the islands were moved from their places. Now that could be due to the earthquakes, or it could be due to other beings waking up. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but again, these events affect everything. Wildlife, human beings, temperament, behavior. So please be aware. Be cautious. Pray or meditate. Say positive affirmations, whatever you call it, over your family and your home and your community. I still do it, even though these people have rejected me and hate me, right? Be charitable. Give others the grace that God has given us. Because we've not really been a positively productive society. And productive, I don't mean producing garbage. I mean productive as in advancing spiritually, mentally, right? And it's just the truth. And you can't fix a problem until you diagnose it. So that's what I try to help with. Not that I'm great or know it all or anything. I've done everything, almost everything wrong. And so this is me warning you, telling you, please go the other way. All right. More later. Watch for uploads because they do not get any type of push anymore. And obviously they're messing with the view count, which I don't care about so much. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want people who need the information to have it. I get you started, and I try to show you how things are connected, and then you can run with it if you choose to look into that more. Or if you'd like me to get into it more, we can do that. I apologize, I've not been feeling well. The videos will get back up to at least a little better presentation as soon as I'm feeling a little more organized and less weary. Please pray for me as I pray for you guys. Thank you for being here. God bless you.